My name is Tulani Hlabangana. I work for Signa Group. Our business does a whole range of things, but most of them, in terms of our offerings, are hinged around a solution for the B-BBEE and transformation landscape. B-BBEE, Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment, has been here for a while. And our journey as Signa started way back as B Exchange in 2004. So we've seen most of the changes and the evolution. And in general, I think there is a greater uptake. Obviously, the changes in the codes have fine-tuned and ensure that areas that weren't focused on before are getting the right focus. So in our work, we assist clients in making sure that we hone in on the issues that they need to address in their implementation of B-BBEE and generally to get transformation and impact. I think clients today have a better understanding than, say, 10 years ago of B-BBEE and the requirements. I think there's a lot of appreciation of what the purpose behind BEE is. And our job is to bring the client strategies that show for sustainable impact and actually, rather than just chasing the scorecard, really deliver impact for the business and any beneficiary. YES is an exciting initiative. Yes, when we talk about clients understanding YES, it's been a slow journey to understanding. And Signa put up our hands early last year when we were doing workshops with our clients when the draft Gazette came out, and that's where we met Tashmir and at a client workshop, and we said, listen, we love the idea of YES. It talks to our power of one. At Signa, we talk about the power of one. Basically, that is that it takes one individual to impact one life, and that through that way, one company can impact the next. And what we're trying to do is so aligned to YES, and that's why we volunteered to say, how can we spread the message around YES? It's because we believe that by all of us participating in solving the unemployment problem, we can make an impact. And our job really has been to spread the awareness about what is YES about, answer any questions with the partnership of the YES NPC and the DTI. We've been managing to get to our clients' questions and getting them the answers, and also assisting them in implementation. As you know, if a client cannot host their own youth, we facilitate that, and we kind of take away the burden of worrying about how should I do this, it's cumbersome, etc. So I think from that perspective, our approach has been to educate and to make sure that the client's understanding of how it can work and how they can impact the youth and how they can get a level up if that's what they're looking for. But most importantly is that we must make sure that there's real work experience for the youth. The implementation of YES is different for every client, and I think generally it can be daunting when new legislation comes out. Just from what we were talking about, discussing the awareness factor, first of all, and all the questions asked. And so if you can get over that hurdle, then when you start to talk practicalities, we've discovered that at Signa we have basically two scenarios, where a client is willing to host the youth themselves that they sponsor, and other clients that say, listen, my environment at this stage I cannot host, but I'm prepared to sponsor, and then we facilitate hosting. So those two, we've got good examples. We've got a client in Durban, Barrows, that is in manufacturing in Pinetown, that has 15, is one of our early adopters. Late last year in November, they signed up and they said, help us do this. And we believe in it. You've sold us the power of one and the YES mandate of trying to solve the unemployment problem. Help us. So we jumped in and we did that, and we figured it out, and we engaged with the YES NPC, and we just walked the journey all together. Then we got other clients such as PCC. They sponsored 14 youth, and they said, well, help us find hosts. So Signa, again, we put up our hands and we said, it's new, also around November, December last year, it's new. We will help you find a host. We will match to the skill sets that, to each person or each youth with the departments that make sense. So if somebody started marketing, we'll find them a marketing department to place them in. And where we can't immediately find a host, Signa is a various number of entities. We will find a job within our own entities, so that we're satisfying the client and making sure that the youth are in an environment where they're really getting work experience. So that's been our journey so far. We've got a number of clients who've joined us since. Too many to mention. FIS, for example, just recently joined us. Trialpha, there's a number. And each month we wonder how conversations in November, December are starting to, and we just keep chatting to our clients. And they do it for, predominantly, yes, you would think it is about getting that level up. But once we've told the YES story and the power of one ethos, many clients are like, okay, so how do I do this? And that's when we step in and help with the implementation. Well, clients will always look to ROI. However, because of the message and the spirit behind the YES initiative, they understand that just giving that youth that initial 12-month experience is already making an impact. Initially, people were overwhelmed by the target and thinking that the absorption had to be the total of the target. But once you've gotten to giving them the understanding that you don't have to absorb, if you can't absorb all of them, people like Signa, our company, could help try and find other hosts where his youth could land up. So that apprehension we quickly dealt with in the beginning. So the hosting is not an issue. The host companies are quite happy to have young, vibrant people to work with and provide that 12-month work experience. And the sponsors are quite happy because at least they've contributed through the sponsorship, and there's no longer that apprehension to absorb every single person, although obviously they're looking to catch the cream out of the youth that they do sponsor. Well, I think what jumps to mind is the South African story. The advice is, if you're doing it for real transformative outcomes, you will reap the rewards. And if you're struggling to, in terms of how to do it, and this is why we volunteered we put our hands up to say, we'll help you do that. And the critical thing is matching. Matching, don't have somebody who studied marketing who doesn't want to be in HR, go and sit in HR, because then the unhappiness kicks in straight away. And the other thing is, if you're providing close mentorship, etc., and you get to understand the potential of the youth, you can see get real value from the youth. We've experienced value ourselves at Signa from hosting on behalf of some clients, as I said earlier, and there's terrific people, young people in the YES program, and we're really deriving value. And the question right now is, how do we retain them? Because their CVs are out there, and therefore the 3.5 stipend becomes, when do we top up? When do we do it in such a way that it doesn't build the wrong mentality around, if you have to show performance, etc., etc. So structuring the roles is important so that you can have a rationale for giving somebody a top-up, because if there's, say, 10 people in the program and one gets a top-up and the rest don't, it's going to create dynamic issues. So the structure that Signa brings in is, if you have a valid and concrete job description and measurements and you're monitoring, you can differentiate and give top-ups. So that's what we're exploring with clients right now. And it's really around building a pipeline for yourself if you do it right.